All right, so let me just go over a couple of things, and then we'll just go ahead and roll right into it. Some of this we already discussed, but so we are Think Tank 3.0, heavily focused on solutions. For anyone who doesn't know, this is the third go around of the think tank. First, which is best practices for educating students who may live in or come from an impoverished area. The second is how to garner community support and galvanize resources for your students. And the third, within the parameters of the current design of education, how do you maintain highly effective instruction and produce high numbers for student achievement? So we'll revisit these prompts as we go, but that's kind of the backdrop for today's conversation. So gathered, we have five, including myself, four very dynamic educators who, when I spoke to you all individually and actually had the privilege to witness you all in action and be familiar with your practice of educating our students, I know that within this room and the brain trust that's seated at this table, we can certainly identify what has been effective for you all, and ideally bring those effective strategies to scale to anyone who may be viewing or receiving this information from today's discussion.
So I had a real conversation with the students, which are all male students, and said that you may not have a job, or you may not get a job, but you don't have a reason to not sustain yourself or your family or your community. And the question became, well, how do you do that? And so I took a seed and said this one seed grows and develops into multiple seeds. And so if you know how to utilize that seed and to produce more seeds, you not only feed yourself, but you feed your family and you feed your community, and that feeds the world.
Yeah.
And so looking at that aspect, because they were like, well, how does this translate to math? So then we go and look at how does one produce 100? How does that 100 produce 1,000? But not only speaking of, we had to put it into action. So we planted that seed.
Just want to go over a few things. So you've been with the think tank since day one, when we shot the men's think tank a little over a year ago. And in that time, we've had a chance to kind of touch base with one another. And I've been a fan of your success that you've had as a principal. And I think the numbers are as such. You took your school from the time you got there to where you are currently, which has been 2 years?
3 years.
3 years?
Fourth year.
Okay, from the 14th percentile to the 53rd percentile. You are probably the most successful principal that's in my peer group. And I know quite a few principals, but to have that type of success is remarkable. I know you're a humble guy, but today I kind of want you to go over in a clear and concise manner some of the things that you've been able to do with your team. So I know you attribute
Absolutely.
a lot to your team, with your team to bring about that success. There has to be some organizational improvements you've made with your team. There has to be some structural, some systemic terms we hear and have read in the research, but in your day-to-day practice, you've been able to make it a living, tangible, successful thing. Can you kind of expound on that for us?
Yeah, thank you. The people that you hire, the people that you put around you that is going to be on the day-to-day grind. I give a lot of accolades to the teachers because they're frontline every day with the scholars. So my philosophy is this, simply that you have to build that relational capacity so the teacher want to be there.
So is there a need for us to establish measurements of student growth that go beyond that incorporates standardized test scores?
There's definitely a need to be able to show the success of students in other ways other than standardized test scores.
Right.
Where we say you guys are unsuccessful or you're the bottom of the list because of this standardized test right here. We discount the whole student. A student is more than just taking a test. And I think that it helps to it makes the student lack confidence. You know?
What are some of the things you've done where you are that you can point to as a solution to some of the concerns that exist? Is it a program you've created? What is it that you can point to that you would say is successful?
So I created a program known as Literacy Society. It's basically a way to give students voice through creative mediums. You know, it started off with hip hop, you know, but you know, students who had interest in poetry, who had interest in writing stories, who had interest in videography, you know, a beat maker and things like that. You know, these were all things that, you know, they could do. You know, I brought in resources that usually I paid for that were donated by the community, and students were able to go in and create. Because of their race, they tend to be suspended and expelled and recommended and labeled more because of that. And so we don't want to be a catalyst for that.
Yeah.
You know, as a black male that's in front of black boys, I don't want to be the person who says I'm gonna follow like the statistics and I'm gonna suspend you behind. You know, what we know is that actually has a deleterious effect on students. Like, you know, you may think that, oh, I suspend them, they'll come back, you know, better. And they might not come back at all, right? You know, and we talk about buy-in. What better way to crush buy-in than to tell a student, I don't want to see you no more. I don't want to see you in here. You know, I can throw you away. You know, and so
we're in the building up people.
Yeah.
So to that end, the instruction is only as good as the instructor. So all the stuff that we do, like you said, is for the kids.
Yep.
I love my teachers. I love them to death. However, but it's ultimately to increase that value for our students who are the most important while we came into education.
Yeah.